My name is Lauren Blake. I'm 35. I gave my family $320,000 to start our dream restaurant. They gave me a revoked key card. At my brother's engagement party, I wasn't just uninvited. I was erased, with a single text, "Don't come. Sierra isn't comfortable with you being there. No thank you. No refund. Just betrayal wrapped in etiquette." But I didn't argue. I logged into the system, changed the passwords, and downloaded every document they thought I forgot. If you've ever been cut out of something you built, stick around. This story's not about revenge. It's about receipts. If this kind of story resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter. Let's begin. The sun was barely up, but Lauren had been awake since 5. Her fingers hovered over the confirm transfer button on her banking app, the screen glowing softly in the morning light. $320,000. Her entire savings built from years of consulting, silent equity, and late-night freelance gigs. She took a breath and tapped the screen. Done. The money was gone. But this wasn't just about money. This was about building something with her family. Something real. Downstairs, the kitchen buzzed with pre-opening chaos. Crates of fresh produce lined the counter, and the new espresso machine hissed like it had something to prove. Lauren stepped over an open box of wine glasses and set her laptop down at the corner of the bar. Dylan was hunched over the reservation system, squinting. "Mateo's already prepping the focaccia," he said without looking up. "Says it needs time to rise." "He's right," Lauren replied, peeling the lid off a coffee cup. "Bread like trust needs time." Dylan blinked at her. "Is that another one of your philosophical metaphors, or are you just tired?" "Both." She turned as Mateo emerged from the kitchen. Flour dusted his apron like snow, and a pencil was tucked behind one ear. "Signora Blake," he greeted warmly, switching to English. "Everything is in motion." Lauren smiled. Mateo was the only one she had insisted on, a veteran from Florence who knew both flavor and discipline. Her parents hadn't been convinced. Too old, they'd said. But now they called him the heart of the kitchen. Across the street, local reporters were already setting up tripods. The restaurant's name, Blake's Table, glowed in bronze above the entrance. Lauren took a long look. It wasn't flashy, but it was honest. It felt like a promise. Martha appeared beside her, smoothing down the front of her silk blouse. "I still can't believe we're really doing this." Lauren nodded. "We are." Douglas joined them with a proud grin. "When we cut that ribbon, we're going to show Portland what family means." Family. That word had always felt solid. A foundation. Lauren believed in that more than anything. The ribbon cutting was everything she hoped. Mateo plated signature dishes with grace. Dylan greeted guests like a practiced host. The mayor's aide gave a short speech. The local paper called Blake's Table a triumph of familial synergy and culinary heritage. But later, as the sun dipped behind the trees and the buzz of celebration dulled into after-dinner clinks and soft jazz, Lauren found herself on the back patio with her mother. "You okay?" she asked, watching Martha swirl the last of her wine. Martha's smile was faint. "Of course, just thinking." Lauren leaned on the railing, eyes flicking back toward the kitchen. "Dylan did great tonight." Martha nodded. "He did, and he'll only get better. That's why, from now on, you should really let Dylan take the lead. It's his time to shine." Lauren's breath caught. The night air suddenly felt colder. She forced a smile, but inside, something fractured. The change was so gradual, Lauren almost missed it. It started with napkins. Sierra replaced the soft cream linens Lauren had sourced from a local artisan with sleek black ones. "More modern," she'd said. Then came the wall art. The vintage photographs of Portland's culinary history were quietly replaced by abstract prints Sierra claimed were more Instagrammable. Martha loved the updates. "She has such an eye," she said over brunch one Sunday. "It feels fresher, more in tune with the times." Lauren bit her tongue. She watched as Sierra floated through the dining room, whispering suggestions into servers' ears, complimenting customers, adjusting lighting mid-service like a director tweaking a set. Mateo pulled Lauren aside one evening as they were locking up. "You know," he said, wiping his hands on a towel, "beautiful girls in beautiful kitchens tend to stir more than soup." Lauren raised an eyebrow. "Is that your Italian wisdom showing?" He shrugged. "Just experience." At first, Lauren gave Sierra the benefit of the doubt. After all, she did have experience. She'd worked at a few high-end spots in Seattle. But then Sierra started attending vendor meetings, alone. She offered comments on the menu, suggesting Mateo modernize the plating and elevate the protein choices. Mateo fumed, but kept quiet. Dylan, meanwhile, seemed thrilled. He'd always been insecure about his role. Now, with Sierra by his side, he had someone telling him he was doing great, that he should take charge, that Lauren was too involved. "I know you mean well," Dylan said one night in the stockroom, his arms crossed. "But you can be a bit controlling." Lauren stared at him. "Controlling? I built this place with you. I trusted you." "I didn't ask you to," he shot back. "Sierra thinks—" "She's not family," Lauren said sharply. Dylan looked away. "She's helping more than you think." That week, Lauren showed up early one morning to finalize the wine list. She tapped her keycard at the office door. The light blinked red. Frowning, she tried again. Same result. She called Dylan. "Oh," he said, almost sheepishly. "We had to update the access levels. IT said the fewer hands in the system, the better." "You removed me from the POS?" "It's nothing personal." Lauren hung up without a word. She found Mateo in the prep kitchen, slicing eggplants with rhythmic precision. She told him everything. He didn't look up. "I've seen this movie," he said. "The ending is never kind to the one who starts the fire." Later that day, she passed Sierra in the hallway outside the office. The younger woman smiled, her tone sugar-coated. Lauren set the tray of apple tarts on the kitchen counter, the oven's warmth still clinging to her sweater sleeves. She glanced at the clock. 6:11. Almost time. Dylan's engagement party was scheduled to begin at 7. She had planned to leave at 6:30 sharp. Her phone buzzed on the table. A new message from Mom. "Don't come. Sierra isn't comfortable with you being there." One sentence, 62 characters, as casual as canceling a reservation. She read it 3 times, as if the meaning might change if she looked long enough. It didn't. No typo. No misunderstanding. Just a deliberate, well-placed request. Lauren sank into a chair without a word. The apartment was so quiet she could hear the ticking of the wall clock. She opened her thread with Dylan. Her last message was still there. "What's the exact address for tonight?" "All I have is that flimsy card Mom gave me weeks ago." No reply, though the message had been marked as seen an hour ago. She didn't cry. Instead, she stood, walked to her dining table, and opened her laptop. She logged into the back-end system of Blake's table. Her name was still on the administrator list. They had locked her out of the family, but not the infrastructure. The password was the first thing she changed. Then came the access privileges. Dylan, revoked. Sierra, revoked. Lauren downloaded every document she had legal access to. The $320,000 transfer receipt, vendor contracts, marketing invoices, payroll data. Every line, every file, neatly organized into folders. She wasn't looking for something illegal. She was collecting proof of identity. Mateo had once told her, "The founders are always the first ones pushed out." But this time, the one being pushed didn't walk away empty-handed. Lauren pulled her chair closer to the table. She opened a new email draft. Subject line, "Blake's table records confidential." She didn't hit send. Not tonight. Somewhere out there, the engagement party was beginning, lights twinkling above silk dresses and hollow toasts. She wasn't part of that celebration, but she'd never left the game. Her phone buzzed again. A message from Dylan. "Are you okay?" Lauren stared at the screen, then locked it. She didn't reply. She stepped out onto the balcony, letting the autumn wind sting her face. They toasted her absence with champagne. She answered with silence and a subpoena. The hush inside the law office was thicker than the October rain outside. Lauren sat across from Rachel Stone, the lawyer's desk lined with files, fountain pens, and a sleek tablet already displaying Lauren's folder. Rachel, sharp as cut glass in a navy sheath dress, tapped the screen once, then folded her hands. "You're ready for them to know," she said. Lauren nodded. "Not everything, just enough." It had been exactly 1 week since the engagement party, the one Lauren had never been meant to attend. In that time, she hadn't called, hadn't explained, hadn't defended. She had met with a banker, a forensic accountant, and now Rachel. Her case didn't hinge on drama. It hinged on receipts. From across the table, Rachel lifted a single page. The transfer record, $320,000 in May 2022. No formal agreement, but the intent is clear. Coupled with access logs, system contributions, and vendor negotiations you facilitated, we can assert a de facto founding partnership. Lauren exhaled slowly. Her hands didn't shake. "Let's send it." Outside the Blake's Table restaurant, Sierra was busy finalizing a fall tasting menu. Inside, the cracks had started showing. Mateo handed his apron to the line cook without a word. He had already drafted his resignation letter. When Martha asked why, he merely said, "When they stop listening to you, they've stopped tasting." By the end of the day, Rachel's firm had served a formal notice of withdrawal to the Blake Family LLC. It included an itemized account of Lauren's financial stake and demanded repayment of $250,000, minus reasonable interest and administrative fees, within 30 days. Inside the restaurant, the system dashboard blinked. POS access was again restricted. Lauren had never revoked everything, just enough to make daily operations clunky, unpredictable. Sierra tried logging in and failed for the third time that week. That night, a familiar post appeared on the Portland Food Collective forum. Evelyn Harper, a loyal patron since week 1, had written, "The soul is missing from the table, and so is Lauren Blake." The words traveled farther than expected. Evelyn wasn't just a customer. She was a regional food critic. Back in her apartment, Lauren reviewed the email chain from Rachel's paralegal. Confirmed, document served, delivery time 4:17 p.m., signed by Sierra Dalton. She clicked the attachment. A photo of Sierra at the host stand, forced smile, clipboard in hand. Somewhere across town, Sierra slammed her laptop shut. "We need to fix this." Dylan stared at her, the color drained from his face. "Or beg." "We can talk this out," her father said. But this time, Lauren brought a witness. The room was warm with muted light and thick rugs, the kind of silence money buys. Dr. Jonathan Wells sat upright in his leather armchair, palms folded over a legal pad. He didn't speak first. That was part of his neutrality. Across from him, Lauren adjusted the cuff of her blazer. To her right sat Martha and Douglas, her mother fidgeting with a tissue, her father trying to meet Lauren's gaze. On her left, Dylan sat stiffly, like a man seated on both trial and jury. "I agreed to come," Lauren began, "because this is the only room where the truth might be said without interruption." Douglas nodded, attempting warmth. "You've always been the strong one, Lauren. Maybe we assumed too much." "No," she replied softly. "You erase too much." Dr. Wells tilted his head, his pen hovering. "Let's begin with intentions. Why are we here today?" "I want acknowledgement," Lauren said. "Not apologies, not guilt, just truth." There was a long pause. Dylan broke first. "I just wanted something of my own. A legacy. But I used yours to get it. And I knew it." Lauren didn't flinch. She reached into her folder and slid a single page across the coffee table. Itemized bullet points. Dates, transfers, renovation invoices, vendor introductions. 15 months' worth of sweat masked as silence. Martha's breath hitched. "I thought if we didn't talk about it, it wouldn't break anything. I thought silence meant peace. but now I see it meant complicity. Lauren's voice was steady. You were okay with my absence as long as I was useful. Her mother's tears came then. Not loud, not performative, just a quiet stream down powdered cheeks. Douglas reached for the list, scanning it line by line. I didn't know it was all so much. You didn't ask, Lauren said. Dr. Wells leaned forward slightly. And what would acknowledgement look like for you, Lauren? She stood, smoothed her coat. I'm not here to be given anything, just to reclaim the space I was written out of. This was never about money. It's about erasure, and I'm rewriting myself. Nobody followed her when she walked to the window, watching rain streak down glass like ink over old paper. The silence held. Then Dr. Wells turned to Dylan. Do you still want the restaurant? He asked. If keeping it means losing her forever? Lauren returned 1 year later, not to reclaim the past, but to leave her mark on it. It was a crisp September evening in Portland, the kind where the golden hour clung to the rooftops just a little longer. She stepped onto the cobbled sidewalk outside Blake's table, if it could still be called that. The painted letters had faded slightly, the glow in the windows softer now, more subdued. She pushed open the door, the familiar jingle overhead echoing faintly like a memory half remembered. A young hostess barely glanced up from her podium. Table for one? Lauren nodded. Yes, table 9, please. The girl hesitated, glancing at the seating chart, then led her toward the far end of the dining room. Table 9 was tucked near a window, out of the usual foot traffic, an unpopular spot. But it was the same one Lauren had chosen years ago when she first sketched menu concepts with Mateo, back when this place was still an idea cradled between bank statements and hope. Now it was quieter. The once bustling energy had dimmed to a calm, almost domestic rhythm. The decor had lost its sharp modern edge, replaced by softer tones and thrifted charm. Sierra was nowhere in sight. Behind the open kitchen, Dylan worked the sauté station. His movements were neat, efficient. He had learned. But there was no flair in his plating. No experimentation, just repetition. Lauren watched silently as he added basil to a tomato reduction, almost mechanically. A few minutes later, her server approached. Martha, her mother. In a plain black apron and modest bun, she looked older than Lauren remembered. Evening? Martha said, not recognizing her at first. Then her eyes met Lauren's, and something stilled. Her lips parted, perhaps to speak, but Lauren gave a gentle nod that didn't invite words. I'll have the mushroom risotto, Lauren said softly. Martha nodded, swallowed whatever she wanted to say, and walked off. Lauren's eyes wandered. The tables were half full. The music had changed. The walls bore new art, less curated, more sentimental. She folded her hands around the water glass and allowed herself to breathe in the aroma of roasted garlic and thyme. It still smelled like family, even if it no longer tasted like hers. When the bill arrived, she unfolded it slowly. Beneath the line total was a slogan in scripted print, a family project. Lauren smiled to herself, pulled a pen from her coat pocket, and scribbled beneath it, with boundaries. She stood up without fanfare, leaving her card and a generous tip. No phone number, no signature. Just a quiet echo of her presence. As she stepped out into the evening, a young server near the entrance whispered behind her hand, "That's Lauren Blake, isn't it?" The hostess glanced over. She built this place. Lauren didn't turn around. She didn't need to. Some legacies don't require acknowledgement. They simply exist. In every recipe kept, in every boundary redrawn. And that was enough. They erased her name from the walls, but not from the foundation. Lauren never needed applause, just acknowledgement. And when that was denied, she let the silence speak for her. Justice, she proved, doesn't always arrive in fire and fury. Sometimes it walks in dressed in poise and documents, leaving no room for denial. When injustice is met with unwavering resolve, the final verdict can echo through a lifetime. Some victories don't come with fanfare, but they reshape the legacy for good.